Meanwhile, business executives, economic leaders, and policymakers are now engaged in significant dialogue as the APEC CEO Summit 2015 progresses. Reporting from the International Media Center at the World Trade Center, Gerry Alcantara will tell us why live. Gerry, go ahead.
Angelo, the APEC CEO Summit 2015 has officially started at 3:30 p.m. today at the Shangri-La Makati with a significant turnout of global business executives, economic leaders, and policymakers participating in this significant forum. With its theme, Creating the Future, Better, Stronger Together, Tony Tan Caktiong, Chairman of the APEC CEO Summit 2015 and the President-CEO of Jollibee Foods Corporation, opened the first session of the summit. The highlight of the first session is the summit conversation with President Benigno S. Aquino III on APEC's inclusive growth imperative.
We resolved that this sort of trickle-down economics was not the way forward, and that the only real growth is that which is felt by the many. Thus, inclusive growth became the North Star of our national policy. Growth that truly helps each and every Filipino lift themselves up from poverty and play a meaningful role in continuing our country's growth story.
President Aquino highlighted that people's freedom from poverty is key to inclusive growth. He presented the reforms and strategies that the administration has pursued in this area, emphasizing that good governance gives way to good economics. He mentioned budget reforms, anti-corruption efforts, investments in human capital and infrastructure as the key elements of the country's inclusive growth agenda. When asked about his expectations about the summit, President Aquino mentioned that he hopes that this would further strengthen cooperation in the region and serve as a platform for sharing of best practices in addressing common issues in the region. He also mentioned that he remains hopeful that the current administration's reforms would be sustained after the upcoming presidential elections. The second session tackled the new global context and how to navigate uncertainties of this era. President Michelle Bachelet of Chile, Ian Bremmer, President of Eurasia Group, Dennis Nally, Global Chairman of PricewaterhouseCoopers, and John Rice, Vice Chairman of GE, were part of the panel. Despite prevailing risks, the CEOs agree that the business sector is looking forward to diversifying the levels of investments in the region. Governments, however, must do their share by making sustainable inclusive growth its agenda and building the necessary infrastructure rapidly for investments to yield positive returns. President Bachelet mentioned that alliances and trade agreements have a positive effect on member countries like Chile, as these provide an impetus for higher standards and better efficiencies. The third session revolved around innovation and entrepreneurship and how member economies can harness these powerful tools towards bolstering growth. The session started with a presentation from David Plouffe, manager of the Obama campaign, followed by a panel discussion including President Juan Manuel Santos of Colombia, Vincent Lu, representative of the Chinese Taipei economic leader, CEO Dana Hyde of the Millennium Challenge Corporation, and CEO Keith Williams of Underwriters Laboratories. During the discussions, it became apparent that innovation and technology can have powerful effects, namely empowering people and enabling their economic activity and providing access in underserved areas. To take advantage of these powerful effects, it is integral for governments to build an enabling environment in terms of policies and infrastructures. In the next 2 days, we are expecting 9 more sessions to take place. Discussions will revolve around Asia-Pacific growth trends, development of human capital, inclusive growth and resilience, and future trends on trade and cities. Summit dialogues with President Barack Obama of the United States, President Xi Jinping of China, and Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev will also be taking place on November 18. This is Gerry Alcantara reporting for Wine News.
Thank you, Gerry.